If you watch the NBA, it has changed so much over the years. Dan, the rules are so relaxed.
I go watch the game. There's no more creativity. There's no more imagination. We have basically robots running up and down the court.
The physicality that was a part of the league.
But if you know who you are, you should look at it as information.
You can't hand check. You can't contest shots.
Really heavily weighted right now with a three-point shot.
If you get close to the basket, a lot more of your shots will go in.
Is it the refs, the rule changes, the endless debates about load management, or something deeper? Something the league hasn't figured out how to fix.
LeBron is divisive. He makes the game unattractive.
NBA Finals numbers down massively.
Well, who better to break it down than the legends themselves? They're here to tell you exactly why the NBA is struggling. Let's start with Gilbert Arenas, who points out a problem every fan has felt. Watching the NBA is becoming a luxury, but that even isn't the major reason, as we'll soon discover.
It's expensive to watch games now. It used to be free.
You spending a lot?
You know how much League Pass costs?
League Pass, and you don't even get all the games.
You don't even get the games in your own city.
You don't get the Laker game.
Yeah, you don't even get your own teams and your city's games on League Pass.
The reason that is
Get
now,
you some cable.
No, that now makes you buy cable too. So you got to buy cable for your own teams, and then you got to buy League Pass to get the League Pass stuff. So what ends up happening is the distribution of games now. They're harder to find.
Think about it. Why should fans have to jump through hoops and download half the App Store just to watch their favorite team? Some fans resort to bootleg streams just to catch a game, and if your team isn't named the Lakers or doesn't have LeBron on the roster, good luck seeing them on national TV. It's no surprise fans are tuning out. The NBA has turned into one of the least fan-friendly leagues, and in the age of streaming, where convenience is king, that's a massive problem. But is accessibility the biggest issue? Steven Jackson thinks it goes deeper than streaming headaches.
Well, for me, I think the integrity of the game is gone. People fighting to get on the court. People dying to play 82 games. People, just that attitude, that old attitude of the game that some guys still have. It's not everybody. A lot of guys in the league still have it, but as a whole, as the league, as an identity for the league as a whole, it don't have that tough. Every night I'm gonna watch these guys. They gonna compete and try to kill each other to win. You don't have that feel when you watch NBA basketball, and it really doesn't get that way until the Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals, and then the finals. That's when most people watch. So, it's a lot of guys that love the game like we did and still want to play that way. You love great guys like Draymond who play the game that way, right? They play the game that physical way. That would do anything with the will to win, right? You don't have too many guys. So the integrity of the game has been shot. Just shooting threes and, just not having big men in their bank and like that. Just all that in the whole is really the reason why I think the viewership is down.
The highest paid athletes in professional sports are being called out for putting in the least amount of effort, and it's turning people off. They're not just skipping games, they're losing trust in the product. We're not done yet. This rabbit hole goes even deeper. Let's face it, part of the NBA's problem is the on-court product itself. Just a few weeks ago, we saw the most threes ever made in one game and the most threes ever missed in another. On paper, those might sound exciting, but in reality, both games were borderline unwatchable. Shaquille O'Neal didn't hold back when discussing this on his big podcast. For him, it's the relentless focus on three-point shooting that's draining the life out of the game.
I have a theory that it's down because we're looking at the same thing. Everybody's running the same plays at the damn top of the key, dribble handoff. Steph Curry and those guys messed it up. I don't mind Golden State back in the day shooting threes, but every team's not a three-point shooter. So why everybody has the same strategy, I think it makes the game boring.
Shaq went further saying,
the game has already been perfect ever since Naismith, created it. It's perfect. We as humans it up. Golden State came in and changed it. And you made a great point. It's a copycat league. Everybody wants to be Steph Curry, but everybody's not Steph Curry. And that's why viewership is down. But these dudes need to wake up because the viewership down, the money gonna come down.
And he has a point. The NBA has become a copycat league. What once was a unique style of play for a handful of teams has turned into a cookie-cutter formula. Spam the high pick and roll, launch a barrage of threes, rinse and repeat. The diversity of playing styles that made basketball so compelling in the 80s and 90s has almost completely disappeared. But Shaq's critique only scratches the surface. It's not just about the three-point obsession. It's about what's missing. The regular season, with its 82 games and expanded postseason format, has become a grind with little urgency. When 10 teams from each conference make the playoffs, why should fans care about mid-season matchups? And that's before we even address the elephant in the room, analytics. The rise of advanced stats has pushed teams to prioritize efficiency over excitement. Threes and free throws are the holy grail. But the result? A game that's starting to feel too predictable. From 1985 to 2015, the NBA was in its peak era, a perfect storm of superstars, rivalries, and marketability. But outside those years, the league is struggling to recreate the magic. Paul George recently weighed in on his podcast P Show, pointing the finger squarely at the analytics for the NBA's declining ratings.
It's a new NBA.
Paul George made a solid point about the decline in NBA ratings being tied to the analytic-heavy style of play. Almost every team now follows the same formula: threes, layups, and free throws. While this approach might be efficient, it's drained the game of originality and uniqueness, leaving fans with a league that feels repetitive and, at times, lifeless. Even though today's players are arguably more skilled than ever, they're boxed into roles that rarely let them showcase anything outside of shooting. And when almost every player is a competent, if not great shooter, the skill itself loses its shine. Not everyone is Stephen Curry, but the emphasis on shooting has made that talent feel far less special. And this is where Lou Williams joins the conversation, echoing George's frustration with analytics overshadowing creativity.
What do you think about today's game now? As you sit back and you kind of analyze it as a former player and a fan.
I would say let's get back to where our best players are being creative again. I think we've allowed science and analytics to have too much of a say in how we play this game. What makes basketball a beautiful game is on a given night, you can watch an Anthony Edwards and a James Harden compete against each other, and you watch two different styles of play clash. And they're being creative. They're doing things that you've never seen before. They're recreating the game. And then when you put analytics into it, that puts them as the same guy. You know, if they're both going to shoot 10 threes a night, 10 to 15 threes a night, where is that creativity? When does that shine? I'm going to start with management because a lot of teams, they hedge a lot of their bets on the analytics. Let's allow our players to be creative again. Our greatest players in the game are mid-range assassins. We've taken the mid-range out of the game. So you telling me these teams shooting 40 and 50 threes a night, DeMar DeRozan don't have value? Like, I watched him hit 5 straight mid-range jumpers to win a game 3 weeks ago. Where is that?
Sure, guys like Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball have that spark, but the league hasn't given them the platform to shine. And that's the reason why, despite the increase in three-pointers, the NBA feels like it's missing something. And then there's the matter of rivalries, or more accurately, the lack of them. Magic Johnson, a player who lived and breathed fierce competition, can't hide his disappointment with the modern NBA.
What's happened to the rivalries in today's game? Like, I mean,
they don't hate each other.
That's
they don't like. See, I hated Larry and every Celtic. I really don't like you, but you're my little brother. The Celtics, Lakers hate each other, disliked each other. So it made for great TV and people tuning in. And now with, I don't know if it's AAU, I don't know what it is. Now everybody's shaking each other's hand. Everybody like each other, won't go at each other like really hard. Even that's what happened to the All-Star game, see?
Yeah.
See, the All-Star
carried into the All-Star game. Right there.
See, we hated the East.
Right.
I'm coming to bust you.
Right.
Michael, Isaiah, Dr. J. You can't have one over me. See, I'm coming to get that. Now,
okay, Magic, this is what I said.
Let them score 200 to 200. What is that?
This is what I said.
And Magic hates this type of NBA.
But then I guess the players say they need a rest. I don't know. You hate it.
I hate it. I dislike it. I was just at Michael Jordan's 60th birthday party. He pulled me to the side, And you know, we talked about that for 30 straight minutes.
Really? Because back in the day, you guys
you played every game.
There's no rest.
We wanted to play every single game. We couldn't wait to get out there on the court. And it's about your ego, your passion, your love for the game. It's about those fans who, like you said, paid their hard-earned money to watch you play this game of basketball. And then we're getting paid to play something that we love. I mean, you know, so you got to get out there. And last but not least, it's about your team, where you stand. You're losing games when you sit out.
Yes.
And so I dislike it. I hope they get rid of it. And for the fans and for the organization and for the overall health of the game.
And the ever vocal and controversial Stephen A. Smith fully supports Magic's views, adding another layer to the discussion.
Remember how we used to sit up there and talk about how Jordan was an assassin and LeBron was such a nice guy and such a nicer human being and getting along? You know what happened to that, ladies and gentlemen? Branding, that's what happened. Everybody saw a way to cultivate relationships with one another, ultimately doing business with one another or advising one another on how to do business and get more money and all of this other stuff. And as a result, everybody was about brand protection. But they ain't the only ones. The NBA is guilty of this too, because you took the physicality out of the game to a lesser degree. The NBA saw in the 90s that the game wasn't as attractive as it used to be. Started implementing rules and regulations to take out some of that physicality. And as a result, hate dissipates too.
This new culture, focused on friendships, partnerships, and avoiding conflict, has left a void that even the most talented players can't fill. The rivalries, the fire, the passion, it's fading. The game has become more polished, more marketable, but in doing so, it may have lost something irreplaceable. The raw, unfiltered competition that made fans feel like every game mattered. From the loss of rivalries to the dominance of analytics, the game they once loved is becoming unrecognizable. So, what does the future hold for the NBA? Can the league rediscover its magic, or will it continue down this path of homogenized basketball? These legends have even more to say about the problems plaguing today's NBA. So, if you want to dive deeper into their perspective, hit play on this next video. NBA legends share their problems with today's NBA.